Hello and welcome back to Death by Espadin, which I just realized I probably should have called Death by Angustifolia. Because, of course, Espadin is not the only, I would say, clone of Angustifolia out there. So, last week we explored Espadin in Oaxaca. And today, we are doing 6 more I can't even say mezcals. Agave spirits from all over the rest of Mexico, all from the same varietal of agave, and we're going to see what happens. But I'm really hoping things get weird. Let's get the last 2 poured, and we will be on our way. Now, I had a little bit of trouble figuring out how I was going to order this. I initially thought, maybe I should go like north to south, and I thought maybe like in order of price or something. But then like I'm just gonna do in order of increasing ABV because like all of that just got too complicated. So let's just go by increasing likelihood to blow my palate out. So you know the rules. I'm gonna go through these once. First impressions. We'll add some water to them. Go through them again. But I'm super excited. Okay, so this first one is Caballito Cerrero. This is a agave distillate, so not labeled a mezcal. And it is from the Chato, which is an agave maguey, which is another variant of angustifolia. Now, this one is interesting because it's from Jalisco. But it's not tequila. It is just good old double distilled angustifolia. Bottled at 46%. Let's see what we got. Initial impression, very, very clean. Much cleaner than the suckers from down south in Oaxaca that I was tasting last week. What are we getting here? We're getting a little bit of like, my first thought is celery, but it's not like fresh celery. It's not like crispy celery. This is like celery that's been kind of left on the counter to dry out. Like dried celery. That's kind of the idea here. Dried celery. There's some minty fennel hippie toothpaste stuff. Very vegetal, very fun. But not if you are a smokehead, you will not like this because it does not have like any kind of obvious smoky elements going on at all. It's not particularly fruity though either. Yeah, it really does smell like someone just put a whole little glob of hippie toothpaste on top of some dried out celery. That's exactly what this smells like. And it's kind of cool. A little bit of pool water in there. It's interesting. I'm looking for the sweeter notes that I would anticipate from angustifolia, and they just aren't there. It's a lot of greenness, and I'm kind of into that. Maybe a little touch of like pre-chewed bubble gum, like something like that on the palate. Huh. There's almost like a rum agricole kind of thing going on here. Not like Claren or anything like that. Not super duper funky. There's a little bit of like a, I'm on Marie Gallant and I'm drinking cane juice rum. Let me feel that out a little bit. Yeah. So again, we're getting the hippie toothpaste, which is like a rum thing, like that mint meets fennel kind of character. That's very, very common in rum. The pool water thing, that's back. There's some interesting kind of minerally notes here. There's some like, oh, what is that? Like soapstone and chalk, but nice. A little bit of like a fresh car plastic, you know, like plastic dashboard kind of thing. Again, but nice. So you just like pulled a chunk of dashboard off your new Kia and put that in your mouth. Surprisingly austere for something coming out of Jalisco. I mean, I usually expect even raicias to come at me with a lot of fruit character or a lot of kind of perceived sweetness, and this one is really not doing that. It's really, yeah, it's something. The mintiness is kind of getting at the character of Espadin. There is actually a little hint of dark chocolate in there too, but a lot of this is, yeah, kind of cane juice rummy. Finish is pretty quick. Mouth feels nothing to write home about. Mouth length is nothing to write home about. Surprisingly light. Not bad, but I'm suspecting we're going to be able to do better than this. So I'm going to add a little bit of water. Good, something fun to start off the tasting though, and we shall move on. Some water fell on my Bañuelos. We've tainted the test. Oh well. All right, this is another clone of angustifolia. This is Tepemete, and it is distilled by Hacienda de Bañuelos, which I've done like 2 different bottles from them already. So I have to. This is from Zacatecas, and I'm now wondering if there are like other distillers in Zacatecas because I keep running into these guys. All right, so it's double pot distilled again. But this one is, I mean, these guys like to use a lot of smoke on their stuff. So that's what I'm expecting. 47.6 on the nose. Yep. There is a bacon signature that they have. And it is absolutely in play here. Yeah, it is, well, not exactly bacon. What is that? Okay, so what we have got going on is it's like a mixture of applewood smoked bacon, so not hickory smoke. There's no hickory on this. Might be a little mesquite, but no hickory. You're going to mix that with some Latakia tobacco, so smoky tobacco, and a little bit of Lapsang Souchong, smoky tea. And that's most of what this smells like, honestly. There's a little bit of like dried mint hanging out. Dried mint does not smell the same as either mint extract or fresh mint. It's its own thing. It's intense. There's a, what is that? It's a cheap chocolate thing, but it's not Hershey's. It's it smells a little bit like a Kit Kat underneath. But I gotta say, like, what's dominating this is just an obnoxious amount of, like, you know, applewood bacon, Latakia, Lapsang Souchong elements. It is not subtle. A little bit of sweetness creeping through now. A little bit of little kind of scoop of vanilla ice cream. Okay, here we go on the palate. I'm going to have to go back and check my scores on these guys, but initial impression, this might actually be my favorite bottling from them so far. It's obnoxiously sweet, but that kind of fits the style they're going for. Like, what you have got here is a core of vanilla ice cream mixed up with dried mint, with like just this halo of all the smoky things I just mentioned, especially the lapsang. Wow. Just kind of hovering around and occasionally interpenetrating the sweetness. Yep. That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. And how do I put this? It feels like a cheap, dirty trick. In the same way that, like, bourbon cask plus peaty whiskey feels like a dirty trick. It's that kind of thing. It's like, you know, it's hedonistic, but it totally, absolutely works. Good mouthfeel. Good mouth, good finish, actually. Like, what's sticking around is vanilla ice cream and a little mintiness and all the smoky stuff. But it's sticking around. Good length. God damn it. I really like this, actually. Yeah, so it's very, very obvious. No secrets to be found in this. Oh, there's a little bit of, what is that? Almost a little bit of like banana sundae in there as well as like your straight up ice cream. Yes, a little bit. No, bananas Foster. That's what it is. So there's like a mostly vanilla ice cream, and then like a little teeny, teaspoon of bananas Foster in there as well. Yep, it works. I hate that I like that. That's really good. All right, moving on. We are going to Michoacán. I love Michoacán. I love peletas. And I love all the kind of, what is it, Tarasco / Filipino stills that they use over there. This is La Luna, and it's yet another angustifolia clone variation. This is Espadincillo, so little Espadin, I guess. Again, distilled at the little distillery down there by Isidro Perez Escot. Apologies, Isidro. And this is double distilled, again, in a copper and pine Filipino still. 48.651% alcohol. This should be fun. We are bringing some lemon into the party. What is oh yeah. Completely different from the previous two. So imagine you made like a fermented vinegary thing from like a mixture of lemon peel, some like crushed mango, and yeah, like just straight up, not white vinegar, cider vinegar. Mix all that together, let it ferment a little bit. That's kind of what this smells like. Oh, that's great. No, there's some minerality in there too. So like just a kick of sandstone dust in there. Kind of like sour tomato element. But again, we're not anywhere near like Clarin territory. It's just a little bit of... Oh, what is the name of those little teeny tiny like green tomatoes? You know what I'm talking about? The ones that you can crush up and they're super duper sour. That's a little bit of what's happening in the nose. Again, we've had 3 different examples of the same agave, all totally different from one another. This is fun. All right, on the palate. Mm-hmm. Ooh. So the palate, the way this tastes is completely different from the way it shows up on the nose. I was expecting this to be quite sour. It's not. It's really dominated by a kind of fruity, minerally sweetness. Let me try that again. It's a little bit medicinal, but in a good way. Yeah, whoa. That's fun. So we are getting like, oh, okay, first of all, a whole bunch of rocks. So that little sandstone, little bit of sandstone dust I was getting on the nose, that now like explodes into a big swirling sandstorm in your mouth, with like, the Dickel fans are going to like this. Flintstones vitamins actually shows up. A little bit of Flintstones vitamins. A little bit of that mango from the nose. A little bit of that mango from the nose. Touch of, what is that? It's not apple. I'm going to say quince. Like bitter quince coming into play. Lemon peel. A little bit of like what is that? Like a tangerine kind of character. It's interesting. It's very austere, but there's enough kind of sweetness to push it through. Yeah, it's a kind of like medicinal, vitamin-y sweetness. It's funny. Mouth presence is very good. Good finish, good mouthfeel, good length. Probably the best so far, although, to be honest, not the one I would pick to drink first, which would probably be this, like, Lapsang Souchong monster in the second glass. All right, I'm going to give that a squirt of water. Actually, how strong is this? 48.5. Let's do like a couple more drops. 2, 3, 4. I'm curious to see if this sweetens up further. I think it might. But for now, we're going to move on to glass number 4, which contains, what the heck is this? Another variation. This time we are in Durango. This is the Burrito Fiestero it's an ancestral from the Castilla Agave, which is angustifolia. This is distilled by Juan Manuel Conde, and this is distilled in it's also a Filipino style. Still, I don't want to talk about that, but that's what we call them, I suppose. But this one is, you have the little pine top on top of clay, so it counts as an ancestral style mezcal, or destilado. I can't remember. Anyways, this is 49.1%. And in we go. Again, totally different twist on the same agave. This, what am I smelling? It smells like, imagine if you really, really loved Sweet and Low. That sounds weird. You probably don't, but imagine if you do, and the Sweet and Low was like the most wonderful smell in the world. You kind of smelled some Sweet and Low, but there was like some mint mixed around in there. Fresh mint, freshly picked mint. And that's kind of what this smells like. Oh, there's a little bit of like a smoky thing too. What kind of a smoky thing? It's like a little bit like a grandpa's pipe tobacco smoky thing. So a little bit of like Virginia burley blend with a little bit of like cherry casing. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Super aromatic. So some tea notes, tea leaf notes creeping in now. Um, Smells a little bit like a really high end like oolong or something. Some black pepper. Subtle minerality, like a little bit of kind of muddiness. Complex, layered, interesting nose. Kind of it's a little bit beguiling. It's not, exploding out of the glass or anything, but there's just like different little things intertwining that I'm trying to to unwrap here. Okay, and there's a little bit of like a pine sap thing going on in this too. Interesting. Let's see what happens on the palate. Yeah, this is one of those ones that's more convincing on the second sip. Wow. First thing I will comment on is the finish on this, just, especially on the second sip, just holds and holds and holds and dominates my entire mouth with like expensive oolong and pine sap. That's really, but also like that kind of like heavenly sweet and low thing. Yeah, the initial impression of the mouthfeel isn't it isn't so huge in the mouth, but it just doesn't go away. It just kind of holds and holds and holds. This would be a killer like after dinner digestif or something. Arrives actually pretty fruity. Arrives on like a lot of like lime peel kind of stuff. There's actually a little bit of vanilla bean there. Black pepper. That kind of like grandpa's pipe tobacco smoke thing again. Especially on the front end, but it really just gets dominated by that kind of sappy thing, but nice on the back end. And again, it's a little bit like the last one. It's austere, but it has enough sweetness to kind of like be delicious. I'm really enjoying that. It's mystifying. I don't know quite what I think of it yet, but I'm impressed so far. Let's see what happens with water. All right, this is like 49, so we'll get a few more drops. 3, 4, 5, 6. The surprise is it's kind of a palate crusher a little bit. Like it, I just rinsed my mouth out and I'm still kind of tasting that sappy minty thing. All right, moving on. Glass number 5. Oh, another angustifolia variation. Palo Alma. This is Espadilla Capon. Now, Palo Alma is a series of like really, really, really tiny production. They can't even say mezcals, but agave distillates. This is from Puebla, further up north. And it is distilled by Asuncion Matilde Vargas. Sorry. And this is also distilled in a clay/wood Filipino still, but it's only distilled once. Single distillation, baby. But somehow he managed to get this to 50% ABV. Hello. It's There's not a lot to this on the nose. Okay, hold on. So I'm getting some white pepper. I'm getting a little bit of like a what is that? Like a banana potato thing? So imagine like trying to make a potato and banana eau de vie, but you left it on the still for like too long, or like it went into the second column of your multi-column still for some reason. So it came off a little bit too refined. That's a little bit what this smells like. Really super duper refined banana and potato eau de vie. There's a dustiness to it, which is kind of fun. Yeah, it's very, very reserved on the nose. I think this is one of the more expensive things here, so a little bit of a bummer so far. Let's see what happens on the palate. Come on. I'm puzzled by this. It's very dusty, kind of like the previous one. It really builds the more you sip it. The finish hangs on for a while, but it's more like, just kind of like dry dust and like just pulling the side off a sideboard off your dusty attic and chewing on it a little bit than it is like, really distinct characteristics. There's a little bit of like, kind of like some mint ice cream melted, and then you kind of diluted it a little bit. There's a little bit of that. A lot of kind of dustiness on the palate. Hints of dark chocolate. Maybe some of that of the chocolate from your chocolate mint ice cream got into your watering down thing. There's just not much there. I mean, it's very drinkable. It's nice, but it is not bringing the level of complexity that some of the rest of these were. But we can always add water. We can always add water and see what happens. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. A little disappointment from Puebla there. No disrespect to Puebla. All right, and last off we have something from Guerrero. This is the Pelotón de la Muerte Mezcal Artesanal. So we're back. We're moving away from the clay distilled stuff back to good old, non-clay stills, I guess I could say. This is from Guerrero again, from the Criollo Agave, which again is angustifolia, and this is distilled by Hector Obregon. Doing the best I can. What's interesting about this is it's distilled both in an Arabic still, so a traditional pot still, and a Filipino still at the same time. I don't know if it's just different batches that they're mixing, or if it's distillation in one and then the other, but sounds cool. And it is 50.2% ABV. Here we go. Again, very interesting. It smells a little bit like, what is that? Actually, you remember, You remember the celery thing I mentioned? Was it in the very first glass? The celery is back, but this time it is very, very fresh. So it's just like you broke off a fresh chunk of celery and you're smelling it. But you're also rubbing it down with a lot of lemon peel and lemon pith. And a little bit of English breakfast tea is in there as well. A little bit of minerality, just not a whole lot, just a couple of like pebbles in there. Not very distinct. It's really on the celery and the kind of lemony stuff, which I'm okay with. A little white pepper. Okay, see what happens on the palate. Here we go. Sorry, I'm going to make sure nothing's on fire. Nothing's on fire. Ooh. Give me a second to try this again. I was in the middle of thinking about something else, and this just knocked my mouth into next Thursday. Wow, okay. Dang, okay. There is a gigantic punch of like, what is that? Like floral dark chocolate on the back end of this that just hangs on like crazy. A lot of black pepper as well. But yeah, it's like, imagine you just took a bunch of flower essence, a little rose water in there, but other flowers as well. And you infuse that into some super duper dark 90% chocolate. And then you just shove that into your mouth and chewed on it. And that's kind of what this tastes like. But it takes a second for it to show up, is the thing. On the front end of this, there's a lot of like celery juicy stuff. A lot of mint happening. Some like fresh grass in there as well. Something sweet, a little bit of like almost a rock candy thing on the front. And you're enjoying that, and then it just wallops you with this like peppery, bitter, floral thing on the back end that just hangs and hangs and hangs. That's really good too. I like that a lot. All right, we'll add some more to that. Yeah, a lot of really good stuff today. I would say the Puebla and the Jalisco are kind of fighting for last place right now, but everything else is darn good. So I'm excited. I'm very excited to see what happens on the second run through. All right, let's go back to the Caballito Cerrero. The pool water has really started to dominate this. This is so weird. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was really expecting like Jalisco distilled, Espadin basically, to be just super duper sweet and easygoing and silky. And that is not what this is. It is like austere and kind of grassy and a little bit minerally and like pool watery and chemical, but pleasant, but weird. Yeah. Really fun. Let's see what happens on the palate. It was already kind of short on the palate before, and the water is not helping that, which is kind of a bad sign. Yeah, the agricole thing is kind of it's present, and it's kind of saving this a little bit. There's a nice bitterness in the back end, which is kind of the only thing that really sticks around. But there's a lot of pool water, like quick fermented rum agricole kind of elements. And aside from that, we're kind of refreshing bitterness, pretty quick finish, not great mouthfeel. I mean, it's fine. It's delicious. It's very drinkable, but I feel like you could go out and buy like a basic sub $30 rum agricole and get at 50% ABV and get something stronger and frankly just kind of more better than this. So yeah, that's kind of disappointing. What do I want to score this? I'm going to score this like an 82 minus out of 100. Just sort of a bummer. Sorry, Jalisco. And we shall move on. Glass number 2. We are back to Zacatecas. We are back to the hedonistic smoke bomb. And it's still like the sweetness is what has come out. Yeah, imagine making candy out of lapsang souchong, and that's basically what this smells like. And it totally works. So maybe that's the trick with this distillery. Like they just need one of those agave that presents very sweetly, and that just marries better with the very super duper smoky style that they do. Yeah, I like this. I cannot deny it. I like this. It's cheating a little bit, but I'm into it on the palate. Oh, that's interesting. So we're still dominated by, applewood, bacon, and lapsang, and latakia. We're still dominated by kind of that, vanilla ice cream thing, but there's an interesting, like, medicinal note going on in here, too. There's a little bit of, like a cough drop element happening, which I'm really enjoying. Nice kind of spicy, smoky finish. Again, I don't remember my scores of the previous bottlings from these guys, but from memory, like if I had one bottle of theirs that I would want to keep around, it would probably be this. I'm going to give this... I don't want to get crazy. I'm going to give this 86. 86 points out of 100. Super yummy. And definitely a fun twist on Espadin. Or angustifolia, sorry. All right, now moving back to the La Luna Espadincillo from Michoacán. Lemony mango. It's actually gotten even more fruity with a little bit of water. This is... I'm not going to lie to y'all. This is very, very fun. This is... it's all the same agave, basically. It's different clones, different places, different producers, different production techniques. And they're all just completely different. Yeah, this is great. I mean, this is just a fantastic experience. Set something like this up if you get a chance, and you will. This is why I love agave. This is so fun. Yeah, mostly lemon peel and mango, but it smells more friendly and outgoing than initially. Let's see what happens on the palate. Oh yeah. So I was hoping that when I added water to this, what would happen is the sweetness would come out. And it has. And it has come out in the form of like, really like, not super duper dark chocolate. We're not talking 90% anymore. We're talking like the 72% stuff. That's coming into the game. And super delicious, but you imagine like 72% dark chocolate with a ton of mango and lemon, and a couple of rocks thrown in. Oh, that's terrific. Dang, I think this is a little bit better than the Zacatecas. Hold on, let me try that one more time. I'm gonna be messed up by the time this flight is over. Oh, they're close. But yeah, I think this is better. With water, yeah, I think this takes it. I'm gonna give this 86 plus. 86 plus points for the La Luna. And let's move on before I pass out. Usually when I do these kind of long flights, I try to carbo load a little bit beforehand. And I don't think that I did that sufficiently this time around. So hopefully I don't die. All right, moving back to the offering from Durango, the Castilla. This was absolutely one of my favorites going into the second round. It's still like just this very subtle, layered, complex nose. One that's really hard to kind of, pull the bits out and distinguish them. There's a little bit more of a minty basil thing happening this time. That's the main change from before. Overall, like I just kind of really like this nose. It's complex, it's fruity, it's herbal, it's got a little bit of everything. On the palate. Dang. Oh God, that's good. Not a ton of development in the notes from where it was before. It's kind of the same thing, but the mouthfeel I mean, the overall mouth presence does take a huge step up. Normally when I add water to something and I expect more texture, especially from clay distilled mezcals, I expect, either it to go in a like a silky direction or in like a kind of like a big mouth covering dominance kind of direction. This is sort of doing both at the same time. So it's like getting a back massage from the iron fist, and I'm really into it. Oh man, there's some basil in there. That is phenomenal. That's an 89. I mean, that's, and I might be being like a little bit conservative because I'm a little scared to go there. But yeah, that's an 89, at least. So yeah, that's very well done. Juan Manuel Conde, good work. All right, 2 more glasses. I can go lay down. All right, this is the Palo Alma. This was really, honestly, kind of disappointing going into round 2, but let's see what it does. Yeah, it's still just like really not talking to me a whole lot. There's a little bit of like a, like a cider apple thing happening now. Like smoky, musty cider apple. Still got your potato in there. That's kind of it. I mean, that's kind of it. Yeah, I mean, it's gotten a little bit more peppery as well. I'm struggling. Like that, I'm really struggling with this one on the palate. There's a little bit more sweetness to this, but I'm still not on board. Yeah, so what do we got here? A lot of dust, a lot of rocks, kind of smoky rocks. Your potato eau de vie thing, and like a macaroon, like a vanilla macaroon thrown in there, or at least part like half a bite. And that's kind of it. Do I like this more than I like the Caballito? I think I like the Caballito more, honestly. Which is a shock because I'm sure this is more expensive. I don't see it. I mean, I'm sure like Palo Alma fans are gonna like defend this to the death, but I don't see it. Like it's fun. I'm glad I tasted it. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, it's very, very simple. I'm gonna give this. It does improve a little bit with water. 80 plus. Ah, come on. 80 plus out of 100. And yeah, that's probably going to be the loser of the flight. Yikes. Nice. Okay. And last off, the Pelotón de la Muerte from Guerrero. This one really impressed me too. The nose has actually gotten softer. It's got a little bit of like a what is that? Like a medicinal, rocky quality to it now. Huh. Not sure what to do with that. Okay. On the palate. Yeah, this does not like water at all. Water is absolutely throwing this off balance. It's still kind of got the same elements as before. It's got that fun like bitter smack on the back end, and a little bit of a kind of fruitiness up front, but it's not working as well. No. Dang, that's annoying. That's really annoying. Okay. Yeah, so if you have this bottle, or if you're planning on buying it, do not add water. It does not like it at all. I'm going to score this, oh, it's still really good. 87 minus out of 100. And you are forewarned. All right, so that is our lineup. Winners? Okay, so we're going to go from the bottom. This Palo Alma, I didn't see it. 80 plus because it gets better with water. This Cabito from Oaxaca, just kind of too austere and weird, which I wasn't expecting at all. 82 minus, also doesn't like water. But then things get things get good. This Bañuelos is shamelessly delicious, and if you like smoky peaty whiskey, you will like this. Like, you just will. Like, it's got that same cheating delicious quality, and so yeah, and kind of tied 86 plus 87 minus are the La Luna and the Pelotón. The La Luna absolutely loves water and gets more delicious with water, so add water to this. The Pelotón de la Muerte does not like water, but neat has a fantastic development on the palate. And then the most serious thing here, and I think the best thing in this whole 12 bottle lineup, is the Burrito Castilla. This is good. This is good stuff. All right, and that's it. Thanks for watching, and cheers.